Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm Kirsty and this is Stuck in the Mud. As always, please remember to like the videos if you're finding them helpful for you and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. In today's video, this is 10 signs that you have OCD. Because people on average have to wait about 14 to 17 years before they actually get a formal diagnosis. And that's from when the first symptoms start to when they actually get that diagnosis and they start therapy. And in my case, it was longer. I didn't get diagnosed till I was in my 20s, and I'm talking about probably in the early 2000s, and it was a little longer in my case, but it was emerging then. You know, people were starting to talk about OCD and there was much more knowledge about it. And I think although I had actually diagnosed myself, I knew I had the symptoms of OCD and I understood it to a degree that this is what I was suffering from. But the earlier it can be detected, the better. And then you probably will only likely need a short course of therapy. You know, that may only be required. If it's something that you've found that has been going on for many years, like it was in my case, you know, I was battling this for such a long time, for so many years, you know, it can be more severe. And you may require more intensive treatment. So you may need the therapy and the medication, which is where I have found myself. And it's something that I think the OCD was so ingrained in me that it just really became my way of being. I didn't really know how else to function. It was just my life. From being a little girl to being an adult, it was all I knew. And it was the only way I knew how to live my life. And it was really something that had to be, you know, I really had to understand my relationship with my thoughts, and I had to change that because my thoughts don't define me. And, you know, I've really become a big, I understand it now. I'm a big advocate for this kind of therapy that I promote because, you know, it works. I know it works because, you know, like I said, it was something that it was so second nature to me. It's OCD. You know, it was all I knew and all I lived. That's the way I lived my life. But now I don't, and it doesn't have to control your life. And this is why I hope my videos help you to understand that and realize that you can get better. But in these 10 signs that I'm going to be talking about today, you may not have experienced all of them. And that doesn't mean that you don't have OCD. It just means that some of them, you know, you've not experienced, and that's absolutely fine. If you have experienced any of these, it's very likely that you're suffering from OCD, and it can be all of them. It could be a few of them, you know, it doesn't matter, but you may recognize the signs in yourself. Okay, so I'm going to go into the 10 signs that you actually have OCD. Number 1, you experience unwanted, unpleasant, and uncomfortable intrusive thoughts. They could be images and urges. These completely go against your values, you know, your moral compass and your true characters. You know, it goes against everything who you are at your core. Number 2, you feel intense feelings of guilt, shame, frustration, disgust, anxiety, anger, and panic in response to your intrusive thoughts, your unwanted thoughts. You know, and we will have this reaction because we're not enjoying this. You know, we don't enjoy having all these intrusive thoughts, and that can be the reaction to it. We just feel all these horrible, uncomfortable feelings because it's not who we are. Number 3, you may feel compelled to carry out physical rituals and compulsions in a bid to neutralize all the unpleasant thoughts and feelings. This will only temporarily relieve them. And you will find them repeating, getting stronger as time goes on. That's unfortunately what happens. You know, we think it's helping, but in actual fact, it's actually having the opposite effect. It's making it worse. Number 4, the absence of physical rituals and compulsions doesn't mean that you don't have OCD. You might be experiencing puro, which means purely obsessional, without obvious physical compulsions or rituals. In reality, though, there is a compulsive element to puro, and that is rumination. We go over and over stuff. We analyze everything in our head, and it's very mental. It's all in a bid to try and problem solve, to work everything out, work through it all. And we want to try and just dig into all those intrusive thoughts and gain some clarity and some certainty. But again, we're just making it bigger and stronger the more involvement we have. So I always say as least involvement as possible with those intrusive thoughts, images and urges, and even the feelings. Number 5, you may find yourself repeatedly checking, counting, ordering, and arranging. You can find yourself repeating words in your head. Everyone rechecks things from time to time. I think we're all guilty of that, whether it's checking that you've locked the door. You might want to go back and just double check. You might want to check with the car, that kind of thing. I think, lots of people would say that. But it's when you just can't stop. You can't. It just feels like you're compelled to do these things. But it's like fighting a losing battle, as you don't get comfort from these actions. You think just by rechecking it's going to help, but then you find yourself just needing to do it again, one more time. And that's very classic of OCD. It's just trying to go back, and you think one more time, and then it just turns into 100 times, and it just feels like there's no way out of it. And you just go, we're going round and round and round, and we feel like we're getting nowhere fast. Sometimes you get some temporary relief from it, and that's what we're always seeking with OCD. We're seeking that instant fix to feel better, because it's an awful way to live. But the problem is, it always comes back, it bounces back again. And number 6, you seek reassurance a lot from friends and family. We do this in attempt to gain clarity and to gain some peace of mind, because that's just all we want when we're an OCD sufferer. But OCD is the doubting disorder. So it just won't give up. OCD craves certainty. But where there is any doubt, OCD will keep cropping back up, even if you did gain some momentary relief from the reassurance. I think we're all, if as an OCD sufferer myself, I know I've done it hundreds, probably thousands of times in my life, just asking someone, but in the long run, it won't help. It just makes matters worse, although it can feel really helpful in the moment. So it's just trying to refrain from that kind of behavior, as hard as it is. I really do understand that. And number 7 is avoidance. If you find yourself avoiding certain situations, certain people and places, for fear of triggering intrusive thoughts and obsessions. You can be living in a constant state of, high emergency. You're trying to protect yourself from the obsessions and intrusions. But in reality, by doing that, we're sending the signal to our brain that, this is wrong. We shouldn't be, this is not right. And our brain takes note of that, and it'll just keep pinging it back to us, like this is danger. This is wrong. And, our brain will take note of that. And we're trying to open ourselves up to these in a safe environment, because it's not easy when we do, especially exposure and response prevention. We actually put ourselves in positions where we are going to get triggered, and we're going to get these uncomfortable, intrusive thoughts. We're opening ourselves up to our obsessions, and it's really hard at first. It's a real hard therapy, but it's worth it in the long run, because we're teaching our brain a different way. We're teaching our brain that this isn't danger. We don't need to be in a state of emergency. We're changing our relationship with these intrusive thoughts, with the obsessions, and realize they don't pose a threat. And I know it's a really hard step to take, but it's one that is so worthwhile. And number 8, you may have gone on to develop depression. I've been there myself. We have lasting feelings of sadness and hopelessness. You don't enjoy the things that you used to. This may happen as a result of long time, especially in my position, in my case, of experiencing OCD for many years. And it can be truly debilitating, going through this. And it's no wonder that depression happens as a result of having OCD and suffering from it, especially for many years. Or you can, you may develop depression, alongside it. And there really is no surprise. It's a really difficult thing to go through. And I have so much sympathy and empathy for anyone going through this. And number 9, you may also show signs of related problems like generalized anxiety disorder. It's something I've been diagnosed with myself, which is also known as GAD. And it's a condition that causes you to feel anxious about a wide range of situations and issues rather than one specific thing. You may have also had experience with eating disorders. It's characterized by an abnormal attitude towards food that causes you to change your eating habits and behaviors. And although I've never really been particular down this road, I have touched on it a little bit when I was younger, and I could have gone down that road if there hadn't been some intervention from my parents. But it's likely you may have experienced this alongside these OCD symptoms. Also, a hoarding disorder could be associated too, which is a condition of excessively requiring items and not being able to throw them away, resulting in unmanageable amounts of clutter. I'm a little bit down that road, I'll be honest. Something I have gone through. I do find it difficult to get rid of things. I tend to hold on to a lot. It's difficult with having 5 children, but I think it goes with it as well. But I do struggle with the whole of getting rid of things, and I put a lot of meaning on certain items, and I can feel quite cluttered at times, and it's something I definitely think may be associated with my OCD. And also number 10 in this list of OCD symptoms you may have experienced is you're losing your ability to function normally. This is really where OCD it's been left untreated, and you've gone for some time and you can't function in a normal way anymore. And I've been to that place, a number of times over the years. I think I've handled the OCD well at other times, and I've been able to live fairly normally without really interfering, although I don't think I've ever been up to a place of full healing until in recent times. This is a recent thing for me. I just feel I've got to a place now when I can really understand the way my mind works. I understand my relationship with my thoughts and my feelings, and how I can actually change that. But when you get to that place where you can't function, it just takes over your life. It's so time consuming. It takes over every area of your life. It really impacts other family members. They can see how hard you're suffering with this, and for you not to live your life fully anymore because OCD is in full control of your life, it's devastating. It's devastating for you, and it's devastating for other people in your life. For them to see you going through that, it really impacts everyone. And no one deserves to be living their life like that, and I really hope that you see from my videos that there is a way. I've definitely got there now to the place where OCD doesn't control me anymore. I will always say I have OCD, but it doesn't have me. I get intrusive thoughts. I get them daily. Everybody gets intrusive thoughts, even people that, don't have OCD. But, I may get more than the average person because I have OCD, but I don't relate to them in the same way that I used to. And this is where I want everyone that watches my videos to get to the place where, it doesn't just control every aspect of your life. It's not a life sentence anymore, because for a long time, it's all I knew. It's all I knew every day, waking up, it was in control, and I took notice. It wants your attention. That's all OCD craves, is your ultimate attention and your involvement. And when we can starve it of that, magical things happen, and you can actually heal and get better from this. And this is where I am now, and this is where I would love you guys to be. So I hope this video has helped you to recognize that, some of these symptoms that you may be experiencing OCD. Maybe you've not had an actual diagnosis. Maybe you've had it a short time, and I would hope that my experience could maybe stop it in its tracks and realize that you can do something about this before it gets any worse. I feel like I've helped my own children in this because I do believe there's a genetic link, and I have seen signs of OCD with my children. I'd love to do a video about that actually, because I really do see that in them sometimes, and I talk them through it. I talk them what's actually happening in their brain, and and how we can actually change that, because although, like I said, there's a genetic component there, and that doesn't mean you can't do anything about it. Although we experience it, and maybe there is, hereditary, there is a link there, we can do something about the thoughts. We can change our relationship with them. We can have a different outlook on this. It doesn't have to be that OCD is just who we are and there's no getting better from this. Just it isn't the case. And I really hope this video proves that to you, and all my other videos that help you to actually make those changes in your life and live your life fully again. So thanks for watching the video today, guys. Please let me know if any of these symptoms that you recognize within yourself, is there anything that you find yourself doing that you're like, maybe I could have OCD. And I think it's important to recognize it. And, if we can recognize it early, it can be that we just need a bit of therapy to get us back on track and realize that OCD doesn't need to control us. But please remember that you can 100% heal from this. You can get better. And yeah, so let me know, and I will see you in the next video.